I realized AI is not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's here to stay. So I might as well learn about it.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Adobe Live Studio sessions. I am Emily Bisset, Adobe Creative Evangelist, and I am joined in this session with Stephy Fung. Steffi, tell me a bit about yourself.
Hey, Emily. Well, so many things to say, but I am first and foremost a digital fashion artist from London. I kind of hate just defining myself with one thing, actually.
Right.
I do so many things, such as content creation and education as well.
Fantastic. And I am so excited to be doing this session with you. Firstly, can I just point out that for this session, I have chosen not to wear pink because you are wearing gorgeous pink at the moment with strawberry socks, may I just add. You can't see them in this, but trust me, they are iconic. And this is actually your design, isn't it?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, and so I think I'm going to jump into that a little bit later,
Okay.
but I wanted to just point that out to start off with that we've swapped roles here. For Steffi is wearing a lot of pink, and I've gone for more black contrasting colors.
Yeah.
Now, Steffi, I'm going to start with some quickfire questions for you. And you don't have to answer them instantly and quickly, and you might want to elaborate on them a little bit, and that's totally cool too. It's just for us to get to know you a little bit better, even though I kind of know you already. But we'll get into that later. Okay, idea or execution first?
Idea.
Okay, coffee or tea? Or
tea.
matcha?
No, tea.
Tea.
Has to
All
be
the
tea.
way?
Yeah.
Okay. Cinema 4D or Blender?
Cinema 4D.
Yeah,
Because that's my first
That's your
3D
OG.
program. It is my baby.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. I thought that was going to be it. Modeling or texturing?
Texturing.
Ooh, okay, big
Yes.
fan. Reels or TikTok?
Oh, it's hard.
I mean, I think it's different for if you're consuming or creating, right?
Oh.
For me, it's different.
My brain just automatically switched to like business mode.
Yeah.
Reels perform way better for like businesses and even for
interesting.
creatives.
Okay.
But for, like TikTok is great because it's more about fun and spontaneity.
Yeah. Where do you find you get the most reach?
Instagram.
Instagram,
100%.
right. Because I've known people to really love TikTok because it gets shown to lots of different people on there a bit easier, would you
Yes,
say?
I
But I
would
know we have
agree.
trial reels too. So that was...
TikTok algorithm is better because you can discover new people quite easily.
Yeah,
But in
yeah.
terms of as a creative, finding contacts and clients and just
Okay.
getting your work out there or even to be taken seriously, I think Instagram has that
Reels.
edge.
Yeah. And when you're just kind of scrolling, consuming content, getting inspiration, is it Reels or TikTok?
Oh, for fun, TikTok.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
But for like creative stuff,
Yeah.
it would have to be Instagram.
I have to agree with that as well. Okay. One European city that fuels your creativity.
Oh, I'm very biased. It is the city I live in. It's London. There's always something to do, always something to see. And I say I live in London, but I live on the outskirts of London. So it's far enough where I don't feel the city life buzz. But when I really do need, to go to events or find some inspiration, I go into the city centre.
Yeah.
Maybe it takes about 40 minutes to get in there. But once I'm there, it's like I'm transported to another world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love London.
I think in London, you can just come across so many different things. There is just nothing that is the same about it. It's so diverse. And you can see, things from like quite old architecture to very, very new things, very artsy things, but then very put together things as well. It must be just... I mean, it's incredible for inspiration, I would say.
And you can wear whatever you want.
Yes.
Anything you want in London.
Do you know what? Someone answered the exact same question today and said that exact same thing.
No one will question it. They think you're going to a concert or event, or maybe that's just what you wear every day.
Yeah. And I love that because we love vibrant outfits. I can tell we've got some iconic outfits right here in this room. Okay, so a trend you're excited about at the moment.
Trends, oh God.
Or even one that you're over. Like, it could be any of them.
Trends. I don't know.
I mean, like some people would say, like AI is a big trend at the moment. And we will mention that sort of a bit later. But also stuff that you're excited about. Like I see a lot of people, trying to get more into analog stuff at the moment. Or, perhaps just being more imperfect and more authentic online. You know, that I feel like is a growing trend at the moment in this era of perfection.
I think being authentic really isn't a trend at this
Yeah.
point. It's been here for a good few years.
Yeah.
I don't personally think AI is a trend.
You think
I think it's popular, you know, it's the thing to do now, but I don't think it is a trend because I personally don't think it's gonna go away.
Yeah.
Perhaps
It's here
the
to stay.
techniques, perhaps the way that people are using it it will differ and it might fade. But when you say trends, I'm like, oh, I don't, nothing's coming to my head right now.
Well, we can go to the next one. So I think I already know the question to this one, but are you more of a solo creator or do you prefer working in teams?
I enjoy working both, but I do work from home. I'm a freelancer, so I work
Yeah.
in my home office by myself quite a lot. But when I do have chances to work with people,
Yeah.
great ideas come out from that.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
you learn a lot, like just working as a team or like just being near someone and
Yeah.
like sharing work with them.
So I do feel like I'm adaptable. If I can work with teams, great, because then I got people to like bounce ideas off from. But if I'm at home working by myself, equally as
you're all good
as
with doing that.
Yeah.
Are you an early bird or a late night creator?
It depends what time I sleep.
Okay.
Sometimes I can be one or another. But one thing I know is my body loves sleep. So if I don't get enough sleep, I cannot create as well.
Yeah. How many hours of sleep do you think you get a night? What would you
Minimum-
love?
Oh, what would I love? I would
Yeah.
love to sleep 9 to 10 hours. That'd be
9 to 10
great.
hours. Oh,
But
that's-
reality is not that.
I feel like if I don't get like 9 hours at least, like I just feel hungover the next day. I'm like, I need my sleep. And I think to be creative, like it takes a lot of brain power and energy sometimes, right? And that
Yes.
just saps it out of you.
Sometimes just thinking.
Yeah.
Not even sketching or drawing, you're just thinking of, you know, how to
Yeah.
solve a problem or to, I don't know, attempt a brief. And even just that thinking power of
Yeah.
connecting ideas together does take energy.
Yeah, 100% agree. Could you give me, you know, the best creative advice you've ever received? Or one like that's a really good one that you would
Yeah.
like to share?
I gave so many at my talk yesterday. I got
Yeah?
so many. One of them is really that fake it till you make it.
Love
Yeah.
that.
Because
Big fan.
a lot of people have imposter syndrome, including myself.
I think we all have it like throughout
We all do.
our whole career.
It just changes every
Yeah.
step of the way, but
Yeah.
we still have this doubt that, oh, what if I'm not good enough, or what if I'm not meant for this?
Yeah.
But sometimes you just gotta do it.
Yeah, you just got to have that confidence to just continue on and you get rewarded from it to have that confidence and to follow through with things. And it's not an easy thing to do all the time. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to be brave and like continue on with the ideas you want to do or reach out to the person you want to speak to and everything.
Yeah.
I admire that. That's a good answer to that question. So now I want to kind of go back and look at like your origin story, right? So for me personally, I've been a fan of yours for like a really long time because I come from obviously a texturing background. I'm a 3D artist, but I specialize in materials. And I think the first time I heard of you online, I had posted a substance material that I had authored and someone commented on it and said, oh, you and Stephy Fung should like talk to each other and you should like do like some kind of collaboration. And that was the first time I think I heard your name come up. And I was like, oh, who's Stephy Fung? And I was like looking you up and everything and seeing all this amazing work you were doing with Chloe and that you were doing with Substance Painter as well. And instantly I was like, okay, I gotta get on this. I'm such a fan already. So I'm sure you wear many hats with this, but you post a lot about digital fashion.
Yes.
You're using Chloe predominantly for your modeling of these garments?
Correct,
Or is it
yes.
Marvelous Designer?
Chloe.
Chloe, okay. Chloe, and then you're texturing with Substance 3D Painter.
Yes.
And then usually rendering in Cinema 4D.
Correct.
Am
And
I
Redshift.
right?
Yes.
But you are looking at Blender sometimes as well.
am.
Okay.
Well, I'm trying to pick it up because I feel that the more you know, the better.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like with 3D tools, they are good. Like all of them are good. They are not all good at one thing or doing everything.
100%.
Right. So this is where I sort of pick and choose different 3D programs and use what they are best for.
Yeah.
And combine it all together.
Yeah. I'm a big like person for doing that. I think when I was a student, I used a bit of Autodesk Max, 3ds Max, and then Maya predominantly. And then my first job out of university, they were using 3ds Max, and I had used it for maybe a year, and they were like, "Do you use it?" And I'm like, "Yeah. Fake it till you make it."
Exactly.
Yeah, I use it. And then I was in Maya a lot, but then I was picking up Blender too. And of course, we're working closely with Maxon, so I was dabbling in that too. And I still find Maya best retopology tool, in my opinion. I don't know about you.
That's
Do you
a hot
have...
take. I mean, there's other programs like ZBrush and Blender, and then they've got all like these plugins. So I mean, there's options.
I know, but I still find myself going between them and finding what works best in each program.
Right.
And so for Blender with like geometry nodes and everything, I like to go into there. Okay, and so where did you start off with in this process? Like, did you study fashion in school or anything? Like, where did that start for you?
Yeah, so I studied graphic design.
Okay.
I didn't study fashion at all, but I've always had this fascination of designing my own clothes.
Yeah.
But since I stepped into the graphic design world, I thought, oh no, I can't be a fashion designer. I need to stick with typography and books and editorial stuff, right? And posters. And then I slowly moved into motion design.
Okay.
I probably saw a really cool YouTube video and it had like a 3D sphere just spinning. That was it. Very simple. I thought, oh, this is the best thing ever. This is so exciting. A geometry spinning in 3D. So then I thought, oh, I really like motion. I really like how text and shapes can move and have personality and have storytelling to it. So
It's amazing.
Then I dived into motion design and then 3D, and then finally fell into digital fashion after I mastered a bit of 3D.
Okay.
And realized that digital fashion was also 3D because it's just, visualizing fashion with pixels. And I thought, okay, so my interest in making fashion, I just need a computer and I know 3D. All right, let me just learn some of the fashion techniques and terminologies and see if I can pick this up.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I think that's a really interesting route in, because for me personally as well, I've worked in fashion visualization before, but when I was at uni, I studied like computer animation and visual effects, and I was like, I want to be an animator. And then in my final year, I did an animation project, and I was like, oh, I don't like this actually. I think I want to change. And I fell into it. I didn't realize you could have 3D and fashion together.
Yeah.
Like when I was growing up, like it never occurred to me that you could be using 3D in that space.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important when we have like big creators like you evangelizing this kind of, way of working.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really interesting. You talk about, you do education as well.
Yeah.
So what do you educate people on?
Well, it's like you said, there's not a lot of people that do fashion and 3D.
Yeah.
When I was in university, this was not even a job that really existed. Of course, it's very similar to character design in gaming, actually. That's always been a thing. With gaming, there's always been fashion. If you've got an avatar, you need something, clothes on the avatar, right? But in terms of, 3D visualization, not just using it for gaming, but visualizing it in a 3D way, there was less of that.
Yeah.
So when I started learning and trying to combine 3D and fashion, I was searching online. There wasn't really a lot of resources. There is a lot more now, thank God. Even Chloe 3D and Marvelous Designer has their own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And when I first started, it was not really
there
there.
wasn't much out there.
So the way that I learnt was through a lot of YouTube searching and finding random videos and actually combining it with the 3D knowledge I already had. And also there was a guy who streamed on Twitch. And he was, I think he used Chloe. And he was just making outfits. Just, he would make 3 outfits in 1 hour. And I was amazed. That's very quick, by the way.
Yeah,
So
I can imagine.
That was very quick. So I'd watch his stream and I would be in the chat and ask him, how'd you do that? What's the button that you pressed? Oh, that's really cool. So I just, I was a nosy. I was trying to learn from him.
Intrigued by it though.
Yeah,
and like that is a community on Twitch. You stream on Twitch, don't you?
Correct. So because I am a self-taught designer and I learned from other people posting online or live streaming, in turn, I'm doing the same. So I'm going to give back what I know to the community, because I understand how hard it is to, one, learn 3D. It's extremely hard,
Yep.
but also the fashion terms that you need or the fashion techniques are equally as hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. And do you find that you have the same people coming back to watch your streams on Twitch? Have you built like kind of relationships through that?
Yes, and some of them I've even met at off festival
Oh, no
as well.
way.
Yes, it's
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
They come up to me and say, "Steffi, I watched you on Twitch," and I said, "Oh my God, you're real. I'm real. We're not just on the internet." So yeah, there has been great moments where I've met some of my community
Yeah,
in person.
that must be a lovely full circle moment from you sort of commenting on people's Twitch streams, like learning it yourself, to now being at events and having people come up to you and being like, I watch your streams. Like that must feel incredible, right?
Yeah, it's actually making a connection outside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think that's really important. Like, where we're online a lot, we don't always get that face-to-face experience of actually seeing how much our work or our creation impacts people.
yes,
And I think you're seeing it live here. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. And I think off is quite a good one because it brings a lot of people together. You do quite a lot of events though, right? Do you have any others coming up at the moment?
Not this year.
Okay.
I've sort of stopped doing events because there's only so much you can talk.
Yes.
There's only so much you can talk about the same project.
Yeah.
So now, I'm finding my focus is more on, growing my craft, I would say. And, once I've done a few more projects and, got more experience, then I feel like I will be ready for more events in the future.
Okay. And so sort of when you're looking for inspiration, do you have anyone maybe you follow or you know in person that is a big influence or a big inspiration for you? Do you have anyone to mind?
I think for me, I really wanted to have like a female role model growing up. Let's say that in university, you're just about to graduate, you're a student. When I looked into the field, there wasn't really a lot of women that I could look up to. So I decided to just post online and be that person to hopefully inspire other people who are quite similar to me.
Yeah.
To do maybe not the same thing, but like just to be able to create their work and put it out online.
Yeah, to be curious about it as well. I think that's what's so important, is to like keep people curious about discovering new things. Because I mean, you work and you present about things that are quite new to, I guess, a lot of people. Like, digital fashion is not something you come across that easily. And so I think your work must really inspire people to go, oh, how is she making that? How do I do this? How do I do that? And so that's really interesting with that. And you're continuing to learn throughout. Would I be right in saying that? So
I'm always learning.
Always learning.
My projects are always evolving, and
Yeah.
I'm very much a tech head. This is why I work in fashion and tech and 3D, because technology changes so fast, and there's always so many different types of technology and so many ways you can apply that with creativity. So for me, I'm always, if I've done one thing, if I worked with augmented reality, then I'm like, okay, done. What's next?
Yeah.
What do I want to work on next?
Keep diversifying and just keep learning stuff. And what is like something quite recent you've started learning, I guess?
Oh, it would actually be Blender and AI.
Ooh, Blender and
Both of
AI.
those.
Okay.
Because Blender for me, I've heard their 3D modeling is quite good. So I've decided to give it a try. And I really want to create my own custom avatar, custom character. So getting into character design, which I've never gotten into. And then I will hopefully learn a bit of animation and rig the character, which sort of, I think that's what you studied.
Yeah.
I've always stayed away from that side of 3D because modeling and rigging and proper animation and having that animation knowledge is extremely hard.
Yeah.
So
I think rigging for me is probably the hardest. Like, I remember doing it at university, doing like Python scripting for technical rigging, which makes things actually a lot easier in terms of like doing it manually can be quite time consuming.
right.
And, at university, I was learning a lot of Python for the rigging side of things, but also for like making custom plugins and stuff. But I guess now, where we have assistive AI and we have LLMs to help us, you may be able to make scripts with it. Have you ever experimented with any kind of assistive AI?
Oh, loads.
Yeah?
Loads, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say this is what I talked about in my talk yesterday. I'm just
Do you
like
remember?
remembering everything I said. So the transcript feature in Premiere Pro,
Yes.
because I make a lot of content. I might as well call myself a video editor at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember before they had that transcription feature,
Yeah.
that I was listening to my voice 10 million times. And I really hate listening to my own voice, because, you know, the recording part is fun.
Yeah.
But then listening to yourself go, hey, I'm Stephy Fung. Hey, I'm Stephy Fung. Hey. And then, you know, that part's not fun.
Yeah.
So now that I'm able to use words to edit the video in a much more efficient way, has made it a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. Like, there are so many really cool assistive features like going into the Adobe applications, and text-based editing is probably one of my favorites. I also like the intelligent search panel, where you can actually just search for things by typing in, like, I don't know, like pink t-shirt or something, and it will find me like all my shots with a pink t-shirt.
Yeah.
I think that blows my mind. And also like things like, I don't know if you've used Object Mask a lot.
Yes.
That is a time saver. Oh my
Exactly.
goodness. I think when you're just like having to mask loads of stuff, just having it get you halfway there. And we now have it in After Effects as well. I don't know if, are you an After Effects user?
It was always in After Effects. Like the
You had
rotoscope paint.
Rotobrush? Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've now updated it to Object Matte. So it's now called Object Matte.
Okay.
So it's like a step further now, and it
Okay.
uses the same technology as Object Mask in Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
And so Rotobrush was great, and it did
Yes.
do a really good job.
That was the one I was always using.
Yes.
Yes.
It just works slightly differently now. And you can really single stuff out. It works almost the same as Object Mask.
Okay.
And so we're just constantly putting in these really awesome features that I feel like, you know, even though we talk about them online and stuff, it's so easy to miss stuff because there's just like loads going on.
Yes.
I wonder for you, like when you're creating content, you know, do you ever think about, you know, what's going to make it the most engaging? Because I see your content come up and instantly I want to watch it. I think you're like the hook queen.
No way.
Like, honestly, it will come up and I'll see your lovely design or whatever you've been working on. And I'm like, okay, bam, locked in.
Right.
Like, let me hear it.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Do you engineer them a certain way? Do you really, I guess you really think about the scripting of that, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I always write scripts.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes it depends what it is. If it's like, if I'm talking for the video, I have to write a script.
Yeah.
Because when I don't write a script, I just ramble on and on and on and on.
I'm a
I don't get straight to the point.
Yeah.
And of course, with social media, you have to get straight to the point.
Yes. Yes. And everyone's attention spans, I feel like, is getting smaller and smaller. And I think when you're creating and you're wanting to put across, you know, one certain thing, you have to find it from different angles and everything. Like, I loved your Kim Possible post the other day. And I think, did you ask everyone what they thought it was in there, or did you name it was Kim Possible? I remember looking at it going,
Yes.
looks like Kim Possible.
I think I did 2 posts.
It might have
one
been
showcasing that it was
Yeah.
Kim Possible, and the other one asking, oh, what character do you think
Yeah.
or cartoon this was inspired by?
Yeah. See, I loved that because it got everyone engaging on it and everyone was trying to guess it and everything.
Yeah.
And so when you stream on Twitch, so that's obviously quite long form content, right? And it's recorded live and you're kind of just building stuff out quite casually and sort of narrating as you go, right?
Exactly.
Do you cut it down and kind of make short form from that?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
I started making mistakes videos because I make so many mistakes on live, right? On live, you cannot just pause. You know,
Yeah.
if you make a mistake, if I'm filming a tutorial, I can edit that. I
Yeah.
can pause it. I can, you know, if I say the wrong word.
Yeah.
But when you are live streaming, you cannot press pause.
Yeah.
And so I make a lot of mistakes and I show the community how I problem solve.
Right.
So with the contents, because I'm making, you know, I'm filming, live streaming every week, I might as well make content from it. And so I've decided to not show the polished
Yeah.
outcome. I show the mistakes.
Yeah.
And people actually quite enjoy watching the mistakes.
Yeah, and that's coming back to you saying about authenticity. You know, people really appreciate that online. And I think when you show mistakes and talk about, you know, where you've gone wrong and what you've learned from it, I think people really respond to that very well, particularly if it's someone, you know, that makes such incredible stuff as you do. you know, we see these lovely, you know, digital fashion models and catwalks from you. And it's so nice to have that candid side of you to see, you know, your thought process behind it.
Yeah.
Like, I've always loved your breakdown videos as well.
Thank you.
I was actually talking to one of our other guests about breakdowns, is that especially in this age of where we have a lot of generative AI, and particularly for 3D artists, where we're so used to making things that don't exist. And now suddenly Gen AI is coming in and kind of doing that for us. It makes people appreciate seeing the work that goes on behind it, I think, a lot more. And so when you're making your breakdown videos, I think it just makes people feel a bit more comfortable about it. And as you say, 3D is quite a step up from just doing 2D.
Yes.
And you obviously talk about education and everything. What do you think you do to your content to make it feel more accessible to people? How do you entice them in and say, hey, come do some learning with me?
Yeah. I mean, the easiest way is my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's where I put all of the beginner videos. And so if anybody who is a beginner or doesn't know what digital fashion is, they can they can enter my YouTube world and, you know, learn all about it. So that's like an easy entry point, because when I was learning, I suppose, 3D, YouTube was also the way that I learned.
Yeah. And do you find you build a community on there? So if people have questions, can they comment on there and you can answer it for them? Or do you have like a specific area for that where you can kind of chat to them or anything?
It will be in the comments.
Yeah.
It will be in the comments, or it really depends which platform it is.
Right.
So I do have a Discord community as well.
Oh, no way.
Or if I'm on live streaming, it'll be in a chat.
Right.
If it's on Instagram, it'll be on a chat, or through the DMs. So there's just so many ways to get, you know, I get questions.
To nurture like a community. And so what happens on the Discord channel? Do people come on there looking for help and stuff? Or do they post their own artwork?
Yes, they post their files. They say, hey, Steffi, I can't work this out. And I say, okay, I'll try my best to help you. Send me the file and,
that's
you know,
really
we'll
cool.
work it out. Yeah.
And that's a great way of getting to know people. And even just without you being present on there, like I'm sure you are, but within that, people can kind of get to know each other on there as well, I would have thought.
Yes.
That's a really nice place to facilitate that kind of thing. And so if we look at like, you know, one of your passion projects, because I know you work sometimes with brands and with clients as well.
Yes.
But if we talk about your passion projects that you put out there, I kind of want to understand your thought behind it. So when you start a project, how does that start? Do you get inspired by maybe something you've seen, or I don't know, someone sends you something, or you see something online? Like, where do you pull that inspiration from usually? I know it's probably a lot of different places, but just usually.
Yeah, I guess if we're talking about like the internet, then probably Pinterest.
Yeah.
I know everyone's got different opinions about Pinterest, but I still love it. I do love it. Yeah. And then if it's not on the internet, I will go to, you know, it depends what I see when I travel, whether it's like just outside my house, or if it's in a different country, or if it's just going to London. You know, anything that I see, I usually photograph it and take a picture.
Okay, and so you've got that inspiration. Now, what do you do then? Do you start sketching maybe? Or maybe do you build a mood board? Like, how does that, you know, come from inspiration and start a project from that?
Yeah, usually it's both. Sometimes I sketch.
Okay.
When I'm feeling lazy, I don't sketch. I will make a mood board. But there's always going to be a mood board. You know, I'm always looking to, I suppose, piece ideas together to then create my own concepts from it.
Okay, and so you're mood boarding in that. Are you just using images? Are you using like any kind of Gen AI in that stage?
No.
So you're just following images, maybe a sketch as well. And then from there, I guess, do you jump into Clo after that?
Yes.
Or is there like a step in between?
No, jump straight into Clo.
Okay, and so let's say you're in Clo and you're making this garment. Do you know what that garment looks like at this point before you've created it, or does it develop as you go?
Depends if I've done a sketch or not.
Right.
If I've sketched and I'm like, yes, I know exactly what I'm going to make.
Okay.
But sometimes, you know, sometimes you get a feeling of how something should look, even without just sketching it. So sometimes I go by feeling, and sometimes I need a sketch to know what I'm doing. Okay.
And in terms of like colors or the final look of this, do you know it at this point, or is that something you look at once you've got that garment out and into Cinema 4D or something?
Usually from the mood board.
Okay, so from there you're already kind of decided on it.
I'm always looking at, you know, on my Instagram, what did I do last time? oh, I used the blue color palette. Not gonna use that this time. I want it different.
Okay.
Yeah. So I usually
Okay.
go by, okay, my last project, or I've been working with pink lately. Oh, let me change it up and try a different color palette.
That's where I go wrong, because when I look that I've been working with pink lately, I'll just continue to work with pink. And I think maybe I've got to shake it up a little bit. Okay, so that's cool. And then you'll go into there. And then in Cinema 4D, you're adding you go to Painter usually, right?
Yes.
How could I forget? Substance Painter.
Yeah.
Where did you learn Substance 3D Painter? Was that just self-taught as well?
Yes, that was around 2022, roughly.
Yeah.
I was texturing my outfits with Photoshop and Illustrator.
Okay.
And I would always have to go back to Photoshop with a 2D UV map, a 2D map. And then I thought, okay, I've textured this now. I've made a change. How do I see this? Okay, I have to go back to Clo 3D to see the 3D version of it. And it just became too tiring. And I thought, okay, there must be a program out there that, makes this a bit more efficient. And then I started learning Substance Painter.
Yeah.
And saw that you can combine 2D and 3D. And, whatever you draw one side on 2D side, it appears automatically on 3D side. And I thought, this is exactly what I need.
This is it.
Yes.
Exactly what I'm after. Substance Painter is an awesome... I'm biased, obviously. Like, I come from Substance itself and everything. Substance Painter is such a powerful tool. And, do you have any advice for people that want to jump into something like Substance Painter? Like, is it one of those tools you just jump straight in and try it? Or maybe you should be watching like some kind of tutorial first? Like, what do you think?
You can jump straight in and try, but I do also recommend just watching a tutorial, not following a tutorial, just watch.
Showing.
Because I've done so many tutorials. I've learned so many tutorials that, a 1 minute section would take me around 10 minutes to finish. And by the time you get to, 5 minutes, you're tired.
Yeah.
So I think actually you learn a lot more. It's like going to these conferences, actually, like our festival. You watch, you see what they do, you see the process, you understand the process, and then it becomes easier for you to actually try follow the tutorial after.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of 3D software can be quite overwhelming. Like when you first open it, like, do you remember the first time you opened like Cinema 4D?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was
so
just
many
like,
buttons.
Yeah.
Oh, how do I think in 3D? It's so different, right?
And again, I think it's nicer now because we have content creators like yourself that are making this educational content. But before, I suppose it was hard to find any of that kind of thing. And so that's why I think it's so important to have communities where you can ask people questions and you can go on forums or on Discord channels and everything.
Yes.
And I think that's really awesome. So Substance Painter, and then into Cinema 4D. And for rendering, you're using Redshift.
Yes.
Yeah. And then were you always adding animation to it, or did you start off with just doing stills?
Good question. I think I started off doing stills.
Yeah. Animation's like quite another step, right?
Yes. Well, I studied motion design, so Cinema 4D was very good for just simple animation. It's not very complicated. So I would try to learn, even just like something rotating. It's quite simple, but at least that is still animation.
Yeah. Okay, and so doing stills and everything, and you would add these colors to it. I love the environments you build out. And I know you say you're not using character design as much, but I've seen the avatars you're using. I like that they almost look out of this world. Like the style they are. They're like, some of them I've seen like purple ones and blue ones, and they match the style of this outfit you're showing us.
Yes.
And, I guess that was a creative decision at one point. And what kind of led to that? Like, why wouldn't you just use, like the bog standard avatar you get in Clo, or maybe something more closer to a human, I suppose?
Yes.
So what was the thinking behind that?
I want to create magical worlds.
Yeah.
Surreal worlds.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, does an avatar have to be, human as we are? And I find that boring.
Yeah.
I'm like, this could be so much more exciting if, they could have even patterns on their skins, or if they're not from this world. So I think it is to do with storytelling.
Yeah.
And just,
and I think
your imagination.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about 3D, I think. Like, you don't have to be confined to what is physically in this world. You can really let your imagination run free. So Tell me about what you're wearing right now. So we've talked about, like, you know, your process in 3D and how do you go from idea to having a 3D digital garment.
Yes.
How have you managed to get it out of 3D? Like, how are we here now? Like, what happens with that?
Yeah. So it always starts with a digital vision.
Right.
So this outfit that I'm wearing today was created through that long workflow we just explained.
Yeah, okay.
And then it was rendered and it's a beautiful animation.
Right.
But then I thought, okay, I'm making these amazing outfits. What if I could wear them? You know, physically or even digitally in a game. You know, there's so many ways you can wear fashion.
Yeah.
It doesn't always just have to be physical. But because I study graphic design, I don't necessarily have the fashion knowledge to make a tech pack or even just like export my Clo 3D file to be something that is ready for manufacturers. So I worked with a company called Digital Twin, and they have background in fashion and they helped to translate the design into something that was ready to be printed. And we went to a micro factory in London and they had a digital printer. They print directly on the fabric. So you know that the color is accurate. And you also know that you can optimize and lay out the fabric the way, not the fabric, the pattern on the fabric.
Wow.
So that it wastes less fabric.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And then you then made it there and then. Did they do like samples and stuff so you could check it all and everything? And then you walked out with a full-on outfit, right?
Exactly, yes.
And is the same thing being done with your necklace and earrings are very interesting to me. I don't know if did you make them as well?
I wish I did.
Oh, because they look like really cool 3D chrome-like things.
Yes.
That would be so fun to do. Do you make any like jewelry and stuff in 3D at the moment?
No, I don't.
Okay, so it's just garments. Because I see sometimes they have hardware on them, like with like metal hoops or something.
Exactly.
And that's something you're doing in Clo as well, right? I would imagine.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. And so, you know, with all of this, and you say you're constantly learning and everything, what do you think about this new era we're entering into? So what are your thoughts on AI in general? I mean, it's a big conversation, and I don't want to make this all about it, but I think it's very much in front of us at the moment. And as 3D artists, you know, it affects us and it affects how we approach projects. And I think it's really interesting to hear someone that's such an influential person and a thought leader in this space, you know, hear what you want to have to say about it.
Lots to say about it.
Lots to say,
Oh
okay.
God, so many thoughts. So I think for me, I didn't really touch generative AI until, I didn't take it seriously until the end of last year, I would say. You know, I had a little dabble here, little dabble there with different platforms, but I just never took it seriously until the end of last year.
Right.
I thought to myself, you know, there was a realization where I realized AI is not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's here to stay. So I might as well learn about it. I might as well be aware about, you know, what it can do. And then I don't want to be so oblivious or run away from it because the thing about AI, it's such a polarizing topic, and especially on the internet, it's so people have very strong emotions and feelings, but you know, the people that are in the middle sort of get left behind.
Yeah.
You know, you love it or you hate it, but what about the people in the middle who are watching or who are not so sure?
They're curious about it.
Or they're curious because the ones that are quite curious and want to like figure out how it could work in a workflow, they sort of get attacked online for even trying.
Yeah.
So I think I'm more so in the middle, you know.
Yeah.
There are definitely some things I don't agree with AI, and there's some things that I thought are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You know, that can enhance my workflow.
Yeah.
But where is that middle ground? You know, I'm still trying to figure it out.
I think that's an excellent answer to it because, you know, it's hard at the moment. And I think that's almost the same in my opinions as well, where I realize it's here. And I think the worst thing we can do at the moment is shut ourselves off completely from it. Like, it's okay to hate it, and I think it's okay to love it, and everywhere in between, but you have to be educated and understand why you hate it or why you love it. And I think, you know, especially on the internet, on social media, it's very easy, A, to spread misinformation about it.
Yes.
And B, to feel pressured to feel a certain way about something without actually going out and finding that information for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice that you can have this opinion, you know, on Gen AI or AI in general, and be able to voice that and feel okay about voicing it. I think I don't like people being mean about a certain thing. Like, I get it. There are things that are discussions to be had about it. But there's no use of just hiding away from it, because as you say, it's not going away. And I think for some things, it can be really useful to use.
Yes.
And so, I like using it, for example, for some sides of the technical art. So in Substance Painter, for example, I made the pink painter plugin at one point, which was like me as an artist using Painter. There was a couple of things that felt like I was having to do that were quite monotonous things that were just wasting a bit of time for me.
Right.
And there wasn't like a one-click button that does it. And this is like a personalized thing to me. So, for example, right, and this might get a little bit technical, and I'm sorry if you don't exactly understand what I'm talking about. Not you probably will, but like anyone watching. So when you've got layers and when you've got height data under these layers, and you put another layer on top and the height pushes through, sometimes you don't want that happening. If it's like a piece of metal on top of a piece of fabric, you don't want to see that fabric detail underneath it.
Yes.
So you would go and you would switch the blending modes of that, right? Some people like to mask it, but you can switch blending modes of the normal and height data. And of course, that's a lot of clicks to do that. And so I was sat there going, well, I wonder if I could just sort of vibe code something that just meant I could just click it like that. And I did. I was using Claude, and I could do it. Maybe it took me like half a day to just perfect it and everything and get it all in there. And man, it was helping my workflow like so much better. It was just this tiny thing that I personally didn't have the knowledge or the skill to fully do.
Yeah.
But I, as an artist, know how I use that tool, and I knew exactly what I wanted from it. I had to explain it, you know. And I think we're going into this new era of we're creating in a slightly different way when it comes to AI. Like, we're still having this idea, we're having these creative thoughts, but instead of learning how to draw them, we're now communicating it, with text and like how to describe stuff.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. Have you found that as well?
Yes, I mean, the prompting thing is very different for me.
Yeah.
I'm a visual designer. I think with what I see usually, or sketches, right? We
Yeah.
talked about sketching before. So for me to think, or to explain what I'm thinking with words, and to explain it in a very clear and concise way, I sound like a micromanager. It's like I need this specifically here with the height here, and it's just very, very specific. Like, please don't get it wrong, because the moment you are very ambiguous with your words, in your head, what you want.
Yeah.
But of course, a machine will not know what you want.
No.
They will just take what you've written quite literally.
Yeah.
And so, yes, you do have to be very specific with what you are thinking.
You've now sort of changing the way you're attacking projects. You've now got to start translating from a human thought into this machine thought. And there's something quite interesting about that. People have lots of opinions on it. People say, it's kind of it's different to how they would work, usually and everything. But everything requires a skill for it. I mean, even just being able to describe it in such a way that you get an accurate result is almost like a skill in itself that we're now adding on top of this.
Yeah.
And I think where a lot of fear lies with Gen AI and everything is that, oh my gosh, the skills that I have, whatever they are, aren't going to be used anymore. And personally, I don't think that's true. I think we're going to build on top of them. And I think as an artist, you are always building on top of your skills. Like, from where you're going from graphic design to learning 3D, where you're going even from Cinema 4D to learning Blender, you are constantly evolving your skills and everything. And just because, you're starting to learn Blender doesn't mean you're not using knowledge that you have in Cinema 4D.
Yeah.
And I think, there are certain nuances to that, but it feels like that way as well, because you still have your creative vision. And I know when I see a Stephy Fung like outfit, you can see it in there.
Yeah.
And I think even if you were to be using Gen AI for it, I think you've experimented with it. Have you done a full project with Gen AI yet?
I have, but with different platforms, and the prompting thing is the hardest.
Yeah.
And the thing when I'm using Gen AI, I'm very specific. I only train with my existing work.
Yeah.
So I have a good load of work that a good range of work that I can work with.
Yeah.
And then I use my existing work to train it.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable using other people's work to train.
No.
The
As like
AI
references and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people use references, but even I'm just thinking, oh no. I want to, if I want my style to continue with AI, then I need to use my body of work to help drive that.
And because I think that's what makes your work unique. Like we can see your style in it. And I think just using a different tool, we should still be able to see this is Steffi's work through this tool. She's just using a different medium with it.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to like shift now to like your style itself. So I think you use a lot of like your personality and your culture as well in the garments you're creating.
Yes.
Can you speak more to that? I've seen you post about it before and I want you to just elaborate on it.
Oh, it's very fitting of this theme of off, isn't it?
Yeah.
The theme is culture this year. I guess for me, fashion is about self-expression.
Yes.
And I also think about fashion is not just about what you wear. Of course it is, to do with that. But I think about it in a broader way where it's about your confidence. It's about your character, your personality, and also your identity, right? So for me, growing up now and becoming an adult and going deeper into adulthood, you become sure of yourself, more sure of who you are, what your values are, what you believe in, how you want to be represented, right? And so for me, when I walk into stores, I don't see clothes that really represent me.
Right.
They all just look the same nowadays.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, like, where's the personality? Where's, everyone's wearing the same thing. So I guess for me, when it comes to my digital designs, and because I'm able to create these wonderful worlds and storytelling, I'm able to create worlds that I can dream of, then I'm thinking, okay, let me create things that actually talk about my culture, about my Chinese culture, and bring it back to my heritage, because that is what really identifies with me at this moment in time.
And I guess it inspires you as well. I mean, there's a lot of like design rooted in the Chinese culture as well. And you can see that come across. I think I've seen you do, was it a garment for Chinese New Year? I think it was.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah. Oh, I remember seeing it and going, this is so cool. And I guess you get inspired by that, you know, because you want to go back to those roots and everything.
Yes.
And I love that you're kind of bringing, what looks like quite traditional garments in Chinese culture.
Yes.
And you're bringing these into this digital world.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've seen that anywhere else. I could be wrong. Maybe there are other artists doing it, but
I mean, not artists, but like the fashion designers or the younger generation in China, it's a thing, because, traditional Chinese clothing are usually only worn for traditional events.
Right.
Like Chinese New Year or a wedding.
Right.
That's it. And so, people like me want to wear these Chinese, cultured outfits, but not just for Chinese New Year and not just for weddings. We want to wear it like every day, but how do we make it so that we have a bit of that culture and also add a bit of everyday modern wear to it? So this is where the traditional and modern combines.
See, that's really cool. I love projects that combine two different things. I was talking earlier about like projects that are combining like digital and analog. And that's kind of what you've done, like wearing the garment itself that you've designed digitally. Like I just think, me personally, I find that stuff so cool to be working with. Are you going to do any other like real life garment designs? I think you have other outfits that you have designed in Chloe and then brought into this. This is probably my favorite one.
Thank you.
Not because it's pink.
I think it is because it's pink. But yes, I mean, I love experimenting with going from digital to physical.
Yeah.
I love going from digital to even just like a gaming environment. So I'm always open to experimenting. And, with physical fashion, one thing I've learnt, however, is that it's a lot more expensive, a lot more time consuming as well to get the right sort of fit, the right color, the right shape. So it is a lot more time intensive, I would say.
Interesting. And do you have any projects that you're working on now that you think, that are exciting you a lot? Can you speak to any of them at the moment?
I think it's the one that I mentioned about Blender.
Yeah.
Because it's exciting because I'm learning something new.
Yeah.
I'm not good at topology, which is, looking at the polygons on the character, making sure it's optimized in the right way.
Yeah.
But for me, once I get this character designed, then I'm able to add so many awesome clothing, digital clothes onto it.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
really excited to build a world with these custom characters
Yeah.
and see where I can push that.
Okay. And so you're just building one character at the moment, or is it many?
I've started with one.
Okay.
The end goal is 2.
Okay.
But I need to finish one first.
And building this character is the sole reason you're trying out Blender because of
Correct.
the modeling and everything, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, that is equipped for it. Have you tried any geometry nodes in Blender? This is a personal question for me.
I don't actually know what that is.
Oh my
I'm such a beginner.
No, geometry nodes are incredible. It's kind of building workflows. Substance Designer.
Yeah.
You know how it works and everything. It's kind of like that, but you can model with it.
Oh.
So like procedural modeling, I think you would love it, Steffi.
Okay.
Honestly, like particularly if you want to go into maybe like sort of hardware and jewelry.
Okay.
I've seen some really interesting artists using geometry nodes to build these kind of procedural hardware and jewelry. I don't want to call it jewelry. It's like kind of a bit more than that.
Yeah.
But to see what kind of spin you would put on that, like I would be so interested in seeing that. And also like seeing how you find it. Like again, with your Twitch streaming, showing that vulnerability of like, I don't know how this works yet.
Yeah.
But I really want to discover how it is.
Yes.
And I think, the more you grow your audience, because you already have, what is it, like 120,000 followers or something at the moment?
Like that, yeah.
Like a big following on Instagram. And I think when you have this big following, but you're still so vulnerable to people and you're like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing for this bit, but let's go learn it together. I think that makes it just so much more impactful. And I think what you do, in terms of being a woman using 3D as well, it's so inspiring to watch.
Thank you.
And I really enjoy seeing your content.
Because there's not a lot of us out there.
No.
Yeah.
No. And I talk about this, a lot with even Gen AI tech as well. There's not a lot of women in it at the moment.
Right.
But again, we need creators that are open to like just being out there and saying, hey, I'm here, I'm learning, I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you do it perfectly in that sense.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the future for a little bit.
Sure.
So where do you think we're heading as like a creative industry?
Yeah.
So like, I guess we could split it up for you. So in terms of 3D and digital fashion,
Yes.
where do you think we're heading with that? Where could we be in 5-10 years?
Let's start with 5 years.
Let's start with
instead of 10
Start with
years.
5.
Because technology is moving so quick.
Yeah.
I would see AI being implemented in workflow lots more.
Okay.
I have seen AI go straight to 3D and build 3D models.
Yeah.
And you probably can clean it up after. So this is where, what I'm learning in Blender and starting from scratch and actually building 3D characters, then I'm thinking, are the skills that I'm learning right now, are they going to be redundant by the time it gets to 5 years? But then I think about it in this way, anything that I learn now, I can still use that foundation and then build upon it even when
Absolutely.
AI makes things even more efficient.
Yeah, I 100% agree on that. And I think even if there are skills out there that may not end up being used in future, I mean, it's still learning something.
Yeah.
And we never know which way it's going to go. Like, yes, technology is going to keep progressing, but it's not like those other ways of working aren't going to exist at all. And there's always going to be clients that want to use this certain way of working. I mean, we've seen that with vinyls, with DVDs, and with sketching and just hand sculpture and everything. There's always going to be demand for it.
Yeah.
And I think when we move into this era where we're getting a lot of Gen AI out there, we're also going to see a trend where it starts to dip and people actually maybe are going to start going more towards, hey, I want the full process of this. And I think in 3D as well, for digital fashion too, sometimes you need more accuracy and more consistency that, at least for now, it can't provide us with.
Agreed.
And so to have those skills and to learn the stuff in Blender, I think is absolutely like the best thing. And it also just teaches you to keep evolving and learning. And you're great at doing that. And we see that on your channels and everything. So in terms of content creation, particularly educational content creation. So you're going to continue to do that.
Yep.
one would assume.
Exactly.
Do you think what you're teaching might change? As you
Oh,
learn
yeah,
more?
of course.
Yeah.
I'm always, teaching what is up and coming. Even what I taught, or even tutorials that I posted 2 years ago are probably outdated by now.
Yeah.
So I need to like
It
refilm.
moves fast.
I need to refilm and tell people, okay, this is what's happening now. Yeah.
And so are you excited about anything that might be coming up in future? So we're seeing a lot of this sort of technology running around. Is there anything that maybe you find quite frustrating at the moment to do?
Yeah.
Like for me personally, I don't like UV unwrapping.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Some people love UV unwrapping.
Okay.
I don't.
That's
I like
fair.
retopology. I don't like UV unwrapping.
Yeah.
If there's some AI that can do that for me, I would love to see it. So I'm wondering if there's maybe like an element of maybe your process or maybe, as a content creator, as a 3D artist, that you're like, I'm excited for that to maybe get easier or there be a different way of doing this.
Yeah.
Is there anything out there?
Animation.
Yeah.
You said animation. A lot of, what we can see is with motion capture, there's a lot of companies that don't use bodysuits anymore. So
Really?
yes, they use AI to film it instead. As in, they use a lot of cameras, put
Right.
maybe 10 cameras, and they put it around the person who is doing the movement. They use AI to translate that data and to, they export it as a FBX animation, and then you can retarget that onto whatever avatar you have. So right now, it's like it's good. It's good right now, but I think it will just get better.
Yeah.
So even, this can affect not just the 3D industry, but even just like, when people are making films as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's super interesting in that. And see, that's like a use for AI that I can really get behind that kind of thing. I think that's exciting about that. I've always thought about the same. I don't know if have you used Substance 3D Sampler at
No,
all?
not yet.
Okay, so Sampler is like you've got your physical sample and you want to just digitize it.
Yeah.
So AI has kind of been in Sampler for as long as I can remember, definitely 6 or 7 years, probably longer than that.
Yeah.
And this basically is, you take a picture of a 2D thing and it's AI powered to recognize what is shiny, what is sticking out, how does this look in 3D?
Yeah.
And so when people say, oh, I don't use AI, I'm like, well, it's been in there for it's not Gen AI, but it is this kind of
yes
powered that's doing it. And so I'm excited to just see where that kind of thing, goes. We're very close at the moment. You can just take a picture of a nice fabric you see like with your phone and everything and digitize that. But maybe getting like a more accurate result to that, I'm kind of more excited for that kind of sense and just making like allowing us to do our job easier.
Yeah.
I want AI to do the washing up. I don't want it to do like the gaming or like fun stuff that I want to do. I want it to do stuff that I'm like,
Yeah.
can
Agreed.
we move on so I can do this fun stuff? Okay, and so I think once you've made your final product, you then go and make this content on it. That's kind of the final thing because the art is speaking for itself.
Yes.
But you are a content creator as well.
Right.
And so you will take that to Premiere Pro maybe, or maybe you're doing something on your phone to do this editing.
No, I cannot do it on my phone.
Oh, you don't do it on your phone?
I need a big screen.
Valid.
Yes,
Okay.
I need to
I'm
have
the same.
my big monitor. I'm very old school.
No. That's not old school.
Oh,
that is
okay.
like the luxury of like you don't have to be on the go doing it all the time. You can sit in your nice chair and just put it out there.
Yeah.
And then, do you have a certain way of presenting your work that you find your community responds to better?
Yeah.
Like, is there any tips you would give people if they're not even a 3D artist, just an artist in general, and they want to market their work a bit more
Yes.
on socials? Do you have any tips for them?
Showing the process.
Okay. Yeah.
Getting good at storytelling. Everybody loves stories.
Yeah.
And also, when you are talking as a voiceover, make it sound like you're talking to your friend on the phone, because a lot of people sound quite, and step one is
Robotic.
this, and step two is
Yeah.
very robotic.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I find people connects better when they feel like they're your friend.
Yeah, you know what? I've noticed that with a lot of creators I follow. I love watching Sometimes they do it on stories. I do it myself sometimes, where I've just come back from a day and I want to talk to people, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'll just film myself and go, hey, this is how I did this. And when it's content you're actually posting to the grid or to TikTok or anything, you have to refine it slightly more than just sort of and all this. But I think it's quite nice to have that casual approach to it, particularly when, you do something that's people regard as quite technical, and it is quite technical, especially, designers or maybe 2D folk. It's quite a technical thing, and I think we need to work harder to make it more approachable because we do technical things,
Yes.
right? It's not like, hey, I painted this thing, and people know, oh, okay, I know how to hold a paintbrush.
Yeah.
For us, it's, a lot more intricate in the workflow and the process. And I think having an authentic presence and an approachable presence is key to really educating the folks out there and allowing that curiosity to come in. You would agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because what we do, as you said, it's so technical.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I post on social media, is to actually show my whole process.
Yeah.
So that people can just watch it and understand it from just one video.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Well, Steffi, it has been so amazing talking to you. I'm so excited we got to do this. I just want you to know that the first time I saw you in person,
Yes.
and I didn't go up and speak to you because I was scared, was it off a couple of years ago?
Oh my goodness.
I remember seeing you on the billing of it. I think you were doing a talk.
I was.
And I was also there for work anyways. And I remember seeing you on the poster going, oh my God, Steffi Fung's here. And I never got to see you. And I think this is just such a serendipitous moment that now we're off again. I get to have you here for a whole hour and talk to you. And you have just been a dream to talk to. So thank you so much for coming on here, Steffi.
Thank you as well.
Yeah. And so you can find this on all major streaming platforms. We're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on Amazon Music. Go look it up. It's under Adobe Live. Go follow Stefhy Fung if you do not follow her already. She makes incredible content, digital fashion, education in the 3D space. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.